Two beautiful 170s represents a pretty good way to start this second leg as we head over to Montana.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is a beautiful Monday morning. I am just finishing up my coffee here, drinking out of my Army cup in honor of my nephew, Reese. And we are getting ready to launch this morning for Deer Park. We got a high overcast. Airplane is all ready to go. And it's gonna be nice. It's gonna block the sun out. Quick, about an hour and a half run up to Deer Park, grab gas. We're gonna jump over the top of the Idaho Panhandle towards Kalispell, Montana, over the top of Glacier National Park. And then we're gonna run Highway 2, which is where we started this trip, and follow Highway 2 all the way out towards the eastern edge of Montana before I cut slightly down to the southeast into Sidney. It's about 750 statute miles today. Could do it in one fuel stop. We're gonna make it easy and do it in a couple. But yeah, she's flying well. Looking forward to it. Let's go have a good day. Thanks for Columbia keeping me nice and warm in my jacket. Perfect flying jacket for me. And we'll see you on the other side.
Here we've got her fired up and getting some heat in the oil. I've taxied forward just a little bit so I'm not right outside my sister-in-law's bedroom. And then we will taxi over to the end of the runway, limit the amount of noise over by the neighbor's house. Always thinking about trying to be nice to those around us, and then we'll get headed on our way. This runway is about 1,550 feet long, beautiful manicured grass. It is a pretty sticky grass, even though we keep it mowed short. There is definitely a little bit of drag to it because it is so thick. We can go in or out either direction today. I'm going to the west because we do have a significant headwind going this way. And it'll be an early 45-degree dog leg to avoid the other neighbor's house right off the end. You can also do a right 90 and make the turn. Well, as we roll out on heading to Deer Park, Washington, it's only 90 miles up there, but I've flown an hour and 40 minutes getting here, so just short of an hour. Nice, easy stop. But Deer Park is a great airport to get into. It's just north of Spokane. They've got always good price on the fuel, and it's strategically located. Easy gets me over the mountains into central Montana, one last fuel stop, and into Sidney. And what a gorgeous morning going out across the dryland farm country of central and eastern Washington. Oh, this airplane, she flies nice. Look at that, hands off, straight and level. You gotta love the good morning air as well. Well, another thing I really like about Deer Park Airport is they have a ton of really good usable grass here. I've landed this several times, so I know it's safe. I wouldn't do that otherwise with a customer's airplane. We're going to save some wear on these bush wheels, touch down smoothly, and then it's a nice short taxi over to the fuel pumps. Well, after a quick 20-minute fuel stop, we are airborne. We are headed towards Havre City, Montana. It's about 310 miles away, but on the way, we're going to fly past Mount Spokane. I grew up coming up here, snow skiing every winter. Haven't skied here in a number of years, but I wanted to check it out because they're always updating it, making some great changes. It was good to see an old friend. Still had a fair amount of snow down there, but they are closed for the season. As I was north of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, up in the Panhandle, I was scouting out a few of the private airstrips down there that have homes along them. Something to keep in mind as I get closer to retirement and it's time to move out of Washington State. Here's Highway 395. I grew up, that was just a 2-lane road that we took up to Schweitzer Ski Area. It was amazing to see it now 3 lanes. And now beautiful mountains as we go across Idaho into Montana. Next, it was time to fly over a good friend of ours' place, Lost Prairie, Montana. Some will see it on the chart now as Carson Field, but a great place for a skydive and boogie. Sure would have loved to stop and checked out Burner and Troy's new place, but without Mosa with me and with the time limit, I just wasn't going to do that today. Half this trip feels like a journey down memory lane. This is Whitefish, Montana. There is what I know is Big Mountain Ski Resort. It's now called Whitefish Mountain. In high school, our ski club would get on the Amtrak train, afraid to ride it all night, come up here and ski for the weekend. It was a great time. Here's Ryan Field in Montana, just south of Glacier National Park, part of Recreational Aviation Foundation, one of their jewel properties. And here's our route coming out of Washington, just south of Glacier National Park. This was cool to see, something I haven't flown by down low before. And you can see the scenery was incredible. Just enough clouds, just enough snow, just enough blue sky to keep it really pretty. Winter was still around in parts of it for sure, but there was spring down in the valleys. Just like the Canadian Rockies up by Calgary, here in Montana, as you get to the eastern edge, you get the most incredible terrain, and then in just a matter of 2 to 5 miles, it is gone, and you are out onto the plains of central and eastern Montana. Big rocks, high summits, to flat grass and farm fields. Amazing how big planting rigs have gotten over the last few years. Look at that. About 80 miles out across the prairies, I came across this big lake, Lake Elwell, and looked down at this campground and dam, and I found an airstrip. It's the Tiber Dam airstrip. It's a Montana State aeronautic strip. And I just could not pass it up. I wasn't going to land it because I didn't know the condition of it, how soft it might be, but I sure was going to enjoy a nice low pass to inspect it and put that away for further reference. The airstrip looked a little bit lonely, but boy, she looked in good condition. Montana provides a lot of grain and a lot of cattle, and here's what it looks like after a winter of feeding cattle. Each one of those yellow stripes is where that rancher unrolled a hay bale. And here's a few random hay bales. They could be straw bales probably that got left out in the field all winter. I'm not quite sure why, but there they were. One of the things I love out in this country is looking at these old homesteads you come across. At one point, this was someone's pride and joy right along the river. Had the trees, the barn, all the outbuildings, and now it's just relics. It's been raining in this country. We had a few of these random low spot ponds, saw a few Canada geese that were about 40 miles south of their destination, and they were almost home. After not quite 3 hours flying, we were approaching Havre City. It was time to put a little more goat juice into this sweet bird. Coming into land at Havre City for fuel, 2 intersecting runways. Every time I looked at the windsock, it was favoring one of the other runways. So I eventually just picked one, made the decision, and you'll see I actually line up on the left-hand side of the runway, thinking I may just take it on a slight diagonal, but it was no problem. And it was time for a little bit of gas. New place I've never been to. Well, Havre City wasn't the fanciest of FBOs, but as you saw, by the time the prop stopped, the gentleman was out there putting down chocks. He had fuel in the airplane before I had a chance to completely go to the bathroom. I'll take good service and friendly folks over fancy FBO any day. Howdy, everybody. I hope everybody enjoyed part 2 of our ferry trip out to Sidney, Montana. We started at the farm this morning, and we're going to end it here in Havre City because I've got enough material between Havre and Sidney to give you part 3. We'll get that out here soon, but I thank everybody for coming along, enjoying the adventure with us. We'll see you soon.